Hi, my name is Daniel Harper, and this story is about the moment I realized that sometimes the people who ignore you when you're struggling are the same ones who come back when you finally succeed. Before I start, let me introduce the people in this story so everything makes sense. There's me, Daniel, the middle child in my family. Then there's my older brother, Chris. Chris has always been the golden child. He's confident, outgoing, and my parents have always believed he could do no wrong. And finally, there's my younger sister, Megan. Megan isn't as spoiled as Chris, but she has always followed whatever my parents say. My parents are Mark and Susan Harper. Growing up, they always said they loved all three of us equally. But anyone who spent more than 5 minutes in our house could see the truth. Chris was the favorite. I was the quiet one. The one who was expected to figure everything out on my own. A few years ago, my life completely fell apart. At the time, I was working at a small marketing company. It wasn't my dream job, but it paid the bills and allowed me to live independently. Then one day, without warning, the company shut down. Just like that, I lost my job. At first, I wasn't too worried. I had some savings, and I believed I would find another job quickly. But weeks turned into months. The job market was rough, and my savings slowly disappeared. Eventually, I had to move out of my apartment and into a small studio that barely had enough space for a bed and a desk. It was one of the hardest periods of my life. Not just financially, but emotionally. Because during that time, I realized something painful about my family. They didn't want to be involved. One evening, after another long day of job applications and rejections, I decided to call my parents. I wasn't asking for money. I just needed support. Maybe advice. Maybe encouragement. Instead, my father said something I'll never forget. "Daniel, you're an adult," he said. "You need to learn to solve your own problems." My mother didn't say much, but I could hear the disappointment in her voice. Meanwhile, Chris was doing great. He had a successful job in real estate and had recently bought a new car. Whenever I saw my family, the conversations always focused on him. His achievements. His promotions. His new investments. No one asked how I was doing. Eventually, I stopped visiting as often. Not because I didn't love them, but because it was exhausting to feel invisible. After nearly a year of struggling, something finally changed. A former colleague recommended me for a position at a growing tech company. The interview process was intense. But somehow, I got the job. Not only that, the salary was better than anything I had earned before. For the first time in months, I felt hope again. And this time, I decided to do something differently. Instead of immediately telling my family, I focused on rebuilding my life. I worked hard. I saved money. I learned new skills. Within 2 years, I was promoted to a management position. Eventually, I even started a small consulting business on the side. Slowly but surely, my life transformed. I moved into a beautiful apartment downtown. Then later, I bought my first house. The same people who once ignored me would probably be surprised to see how far I had come. But they didn't know any of it. Because I never told them. 3 years passed with very little contact between me and my family. Then one evening, my phone rang. It was my mother. I answered, surprised. Her voice sounded nervous. "Daniel," she said, "we need to talk." Apparently, Chris had made some terrible financial decisions. His real estate investments had failed. He had taken out loans he couldn't repay. And now he was in serious debt. My parents had already helped him as much as they could. But it wasn't enough. That's when my mother said the sentence that changed everything. "We were hoping you might be able to help your brother." A few days later, I agreed to meet them for dinner. When I walked into the restaurant, it felt strange seeing everyone again after so long. Chris looked stressed. My parents looked hopeful. We ordered food, but no one really talked. Finally, my father cleared his throat. "Daniel," he said, "your brother is going through a difficult time." Chris avoided eye contact. My mother added, "Family should support each other." That sentence almost made me laugh. Family should support each other. Where had that idea been when I needed it? I took a deep breath. "I understand," I said calmly. Chris finally looked at me. "So, you'll help?" he asked. I leaned back in my chair. "I might," I said. Everyone at the table looked relieved. But then I continued. "Before I decide, I need to understand something." The room went quiet. "Where were all of you when I was struggling?" I asked. No one answered. I wasn't angry. I just wanted honesty. Finally, Chris spoke quietly. "I didn't think things were that bad for you." "They were," I replied. After a long silence, I spoke again. "I worked hard to rebuild my life," I said. "No one helped me." My parents looked uncomfortable. "But I don't want to hold on to resentment forever." Chris looked hopeful again. "So, what does that mean?" he asked. "It means I'm willing to help," I said. "But not the way you expect." Instead of giving him money, I offered something else. A job. At my consulting company. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy. But it was an opportunity. Chris would have to work hard and prove himself. Just like I did. At first, Chris looked disappointed. But eventually, he nodded. Because deep down, he knew he didn't have many options. Over the next year, something surprising happened. Chris actually changed. Working from the bottom taught him humility. And slowly, our relationship started to improve. As for my parents, they began to see me differently too. Not as the quiet middle child. But as someone strong enough to build his own success. Looking back, I realized something important. Sometimes the hardest moments in life reveal who truly supports you. But they also give you the chance to decide what kind of person you want to be. You can hold on to bitterness. Or you can choose growth. I chose growth. And in the end, that decision changed my entire life.